And that question is, what more can I give? Now, if that sounds familiar to you, it is the title of a very obscure Michael Jackson song that he sang with a bunch of pop artists like Gloria Estefan, uh, Beyonce, NSYNC, Mariah Carey, Luther Vandross, uh, Brian McKnight, a whole bunch of people. And you probably never heard of that song because it never was officially released except for, I think, 1 or 2 days back in 2003. And the song was created a bunch of different times and a bunch of different iterations, the final iteration being in response to September 11th. But for a bunch of different reasons, with his record company and all sorts of things, the song never really made it to the world. Neither did Todo Para Ti, which is the Spanish version of the song. But why do I bring that up? I bring that up, one, because uh, today I uh, woke up and remembered it was Colorado Gives Day. And this is one of my favorite giving days, because a lot of the nonprofits in this area, when you donate to them, there's like matching contributions and all sorts of things. And so, usually over the years, I've been blessed enough to be in a financial situation where I can donate to different organizations that I believe in, and see that impact doubled. But this year, I found myself in a situation where I am less funded, and therefore I can fund less. And so I was actually feeling pretty sad about it. And I had to sit with that, though. I didn't lament per se, but I let myself be sad and listened to what was coming up for me. And I did a couple of exercises because I'd like to use my mind. Hi, Margaret. I like to use my mind creatively. And so when I felt myself feeling sad about not being in the position to donate to organizations that I want to support in the way that I wanted to, I started to ask myself, one question was like, well, what would I like to give? And then I ran through a series of numbers and thought about, how they say it's the thought that counts. So I let my heart feel what I wanted to donate to Peak to Peak, my kids' school, the Modus Theater, where I serve on the board, to Together, which is an organization that works with homeless youth, with the YWCA, all of these different organizations that in the past I've been blessed enough to have financial resources to be able to share with them. And this year, being in a less of a situation like that, there was some grief there. So I was grateful that I have the grief. But I also wanted to be curious about where does that grief come from and where does that desire to give come from? And it's not like a humble brag, like, yo, I love giving. It's not that. It's something natural about it. I mean, when you think about most things in nature, they receive what they need from nature and then they give what something else needs. Like I remember when I first learned that we got our oxygen from like trees and green plants, but we give our carbon dioxide out to them. And I thought, man, that is amazing. And there's so many things in our world that works that way. So I think it's very natural to both receive and then give. And so this question of what more can I give came to me this morning because I couldn't give the financial resources that I would like to give. I did have a really good conversation with my wife about it, and we made a decision that we would donate something to things we care about at the level that we can right now. And then just to be in solidarity and to know that it is truly the thought that counts, under, you know, for the most part. I mean, I can't give a person a thought to eat for a sandwich. So I guess that there's limits to that. But essentially, we agreed that we would give something to the things that I care about. So I was really grateful to have that conversation with her and for her to meet me there. But then I also thought about, well, what are other ways I can give? And so I spent a good time this morning praying, and just praying for all the different organizations, like including the one that I have been serving for a few years that does not get the funding that it used to because of different changes in the environment that we're in, and for people who are struggling, which is there are many of us. So I spent a good amount of time praying this morning, and I felt the giving that comes from that. And then I also thought about, making this video like I'm making right now. That's a way that I can give. And then I also thought about how I can be increasingly try to be an encouragement to people. I feel that a lot of the problems that we see in our society right now, they come from a lack of meaning. And if you read the post that I did earlier this morning, or I posted earlier this morning, is that many of us forget that we are actually meaning makers. That's what we do. And we look for things outside of us to give us meaning when we are the ones that bring meaning to those things. And so I started thinking, well, another thing I can give is to help people remember that they are meaning makers. So even though I was feeling a little bit of grief of not being able to contribute financially to some of the organizations I want to support, I was able to transform that through prayer, through conversation with my wife, through making this video, and other ways that I'll continue to try to make meaning out of this moment. I also do this prayer whenever I feel something that I'd rather not feel. I always go inside of myself and I pray for anyone else who might be feeling that feeling right now besides me. So I was just like, I pray for every person who would love to give but can't give at the level that they would want to. And I also got this really awesome feeling because there's a story in the Bible where this woman, they say she gives like two mites. It's like a denomination of money, and this other person gives all this money when they're doing an offering at the synagogue, or this other woman gives these two little, like almost nothings. And Jesus says that she gave more because she gave out of the little she had, whereas that person who seemingly gave a lot had so much more to give, but they didn't. They gave a teeny weeny amount out of what they had, and she gave an abundance out of the little that she had. And so I felt gratitude for being able to connect with that spirit, because I know that like the $5 or $10 that I can donate to somebody right now is what I can give. But it also feels good to know that teaching exists, that like when we give, because that comes out of the abundance of our heart, and the measure isn't always like the dollar amount or whatever the case may be, but the intent behind it. And so I feel gratitude for being able to connect with that. And it also reminded me of something super beautiful that happened to me several times, or happened in front of me, is when I was a pastor at this church in Boulder, which is a reasonably wealthy church. um, for 3 years, this woman came in on, I think it was like Easter. It was one of the holidays, Easter time. And she would put two pennies in the plate. And she looked homeless. I mean, I shouldn't judge people by their appearance, but she was dressed in a disheveled way. But she put two pennies in there. And the three times that I saw her do that, I almost started bawling uncontrollably, because I remembered that story from the Bible. And I was like, man, I didn't know if that woman went around and did that at other faith communities, or if that was a part of her calling, or whatever the case may be. But she showed up and dropped those two pennies in the plate. And it was a reminder of the spiritual import of us giving from our heart, and probably a rebuke for those of us who have plenty and don't share freely, which could be said for a lot of the people in our society right now. But I want to also add to this conversation this awareness that I think that many of the people who hoard resources and try to hoard power and all these things, that they actually are the poor. They are the empty. They are those that are lacking. They don't know they are, but they're so empty and lacking, I imagine, that they try to fill their lives with the hoarding of things, the hoarding of accolades, the hoarding of money, the hoarding of resources, the feel power. And it's all a failed attempt of trying to make their lives feel meaningful, because they also subscribe to this illusion that something outside of ourselves can give us meaning, rather than realizing that we bring meaning to the moments that we're in. And so when I ask myself that question, what more can I give? I can say with all honesty that I can give everything. I can give everything I have, because what I have is myself. What I have is my love. What I have is my imagination. What I have is my ability to learn from my mistakes and to grow. And if I take that awareness and I bring it to every moment I'm in. And I encourage other people to bring these things to every moment they're in. And that more and more of us start to see ourselves as beloved creatures with infinite imaginative capacity and learning how to use that imaginative capacity in service to ourselves, others, and the world, then that's all I got, you know? And I am grateful that for whatever reasons on the journey that I've been on for the past 50 years, that have been like many bumps in the road and heartbreaks and pain, but something beyond me always fills me back up, not outside of me, but within and beyond me. And I call that love. I call that God. I call that divine mind. And every day I get to learn more and more about what that means. And I get to share that with people. And even when I walk away, because I walked away from being a minister several times, I keep finding myself in these situations where I'm blessed to be able to remind people. And I'm grateful that whatever brings the lesson up, I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for those of you who are on this journey with me. Margaret, thank you for being here in real time. And for all of us who are on this journey, I know a lot of us have been told a lot of lies about who we are, what we're capable of, what our value is. But I want to tell you, I am telling you that anything that tells us that we are less than a beloved child of God that we are is a lie. And that may be a hard pill to swallow because it may be family that told us that. It may be churches that told us that. It may be institutions and systems that told us that. And we might have bought into it. And sometimes when we buy into lies, it's hard to back out of it, especially if we've spread those lies as well. But I personally know, not just believe, but know that we can at any moment reclaim our identity in love and that we can do that wholeheartedly and we can invite other people into it. And it's just a choice away. And it's not about joining a religion. It's not about going around and, I mean, obviously you can make amends if you want to, but it's about making amends with yourself first. Forgiving yourself for believing lies and sharing lies. And as I said in a video that's attached to one of the posts I made, I think the most recent one, that we don't tell lies and believe lies because we're bad people. We tell lies and believe lies sometimes because we're innocent. We're like little kids who don't know any better sometimes. But there's opportunity to know better, to do better, to see better, to be better. And those opportunities are always around us. So I hope that this encounter, if you have this encounter with this video, that you look not just to what I'm saying, but look inside of yourself. Remember your innocence, remember your beauty, remember that you're loved, and remind other people. And yeah, when we wake up to these things, some people will be like, well, you're the jerk that hurt my feelings, you know, and who do you think you are now to be loving yourself? How dare you love yourself? You know, we are more than the worst thing that we've done. We're more than the worst thing that's ever happened to us. We are more. And it's time that we get to know that, because as long as we don't know that, there's going to be people just there to manipulate us. And we don't deserve that. Even the craziest of us don't deserve that. We deserve to know ourselves as we are known, and we are known by love. We emerge from love. And what I have to give to you all in this moment is just a reminder of that. So if you feel it, if it connects with you, share it with other people, because we're not going to be able to change things, as Buckminster Fuller said, by fighting the existing reality. We have to create something new and make the old thing obsolete. And these institutions that lie to us are obsolete, and we can't fight them. We have to create something new. So here's to creating something new together. Peace, blessings, love you, and let's see what comes next. Thanks for being here.